Sometimes you get into a conversation where you just can't resist digging a little deeper. And I had one such conversation recently with Jim Cockerill, who runs HALTglass. I've interviewed him recently on The Creative Experience, and he was telling me about a project that he's doing just now for an installation in an old shop, which has a lot of memories for him. And it was so intriguing and so interesting, I couldn't resist. I love visiting other glass studios, and this was the perfect opportunity to meet up again with Jim and hear more about this intriguing project.
This is fantastic, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had the privilege of interviewing you before for YouTube, but actually being here in person is brilliant. And you have a beautiful slice of heaven here.
Well, it's where I experiment, I guess. Yeah, it's where I try things out and teach, do a lot of courses, you know. A lot of my income is through courses and through tuition, and I've been building up a whole range of different types of courses to teach people what I've learned in the studio by experimenting. And I love this place because I've got everything on tap that I need, sort of material-wise and equipment-wise, to be able to just reach for something and try things out. And that's, I guess, what I've been doing for the last 8 years since I built the studio, just doing something different every week and seeing something and then trying and experimenting and failing and then learning from that. And over that time, I've built up, I guess, a range of things that I know work.
And that wonderful thing about failure is sometimes the biggest gift you can have, isn't it? When something goes wrong and you try a different angle with it, it sometimes reveals something that you didn't know was going to happen.
Absolutely, yeah. And the sooner I learned that, therein lies freedom and happiness, in the sense it's not what I'm heading for, it's quite often what's to the side of, and actually 2 steps to the side of, which never would have been discovered without that journey in the first place.
So with your students who come on the course, are they glass students? Are they fellow creatives? Are they starting it for the first time?
Bit of both, really. Yeah. But quite often they've got an interest in glass and the process, and I guess I've tried to do a range of different things with print, with different kinds of things like printing with silver stain as well as enamels. And some people want to learn just the process of printing on glass because they're interested in creating things that I wouldn't do, which is like mirrors or signage and that kind of stuff.
I was really impressed with having a look at your website, because you've got like a variety of different online courses, and you send information out, you send materials to people as well.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, that was lockdown. You know, everything stopped, people couldn't come here, so I still needed to make a living. So, you know, rather than wait for it to unlock, why not adapt? And I thought, you know, rather than it just be a set of videos, how could I stand out and be a bit different, make something a bit more bespoke, where I actually engage with people on a one-to-one over Zoom. So I do that at the beginning and at the end of the course, and then I send you out a kit with everything you need, so a boxed up kit with everything you need to print on glass.
So as well as doing your coursework, you are a glass artist just pursuing your own work as well. And what's really interesting is that you do like to experiment, you do like to challenge yourself, and I can see that there's a really interesting project on the table here at the moment. What are we working on here?
Well, this, I guess, is the end of a 2-year journey where it started out where my practice, I was experimenting with making work and taking it to art shows and exhibitions to sell. And it wasn't working for me. So I wanted to relook at how artists work, you know, and how they create work and how they make money to make more work. I went on several courses on how I can apply for funding and where you can go to apply for funding, and talk to other artists about how they create their work and where they get the money to do that. And I came to the conclusion that what my role is as an artist is to make things happen, you know, and that's the main focus. And I can't wait. I realised I'm not going to wait around for something to fall into my lap. And I knew as well that 2 years ago I wanted to work at scale. So rather than apply for a competition for a scale commission, which I hear is becoming more and more difficult and there are less and less of, and I have no experience of, I've created my own commission. I've created my own event. Was given great advice by a local artist called Mary Branson. She told me a great order to do things in is find the venue. Find the venue and then get the idea and get excited. For years I've been photographing a corner shop which was opened up in 1957 by a gentleman called Bob Webley, and he's ran that shop practically with no change for 65 years, and it was the shop that I went to as a kid and bought toys from and sweets from, and it's still there in 2022. You know, it was incredible, you know, and over the years I was taking photos of it, years and years of photos. That I've got this catalogue of photos, and sadly he passed away. I approached his family to see if I could do something in the vacant shop while they waited for a new tenant to lease it out, and explain what I was trying to do and what I was about, and they said yes. So it's me creating the opportunity to exhibit. So I've made a site-specific piece which means a lot to me, because it's about my history as well. It's about the history of something I know I grew up with. And I had all of the source material already, so I had a great interest and a passion about it, and I had the location, but the piece is going to happen. But now the piece is starting to attract its own noise. Things are happening from this piece, and opportunities are arising because I'm making work at scale.
This is your backyard. This is an area that you know, so you're really contributing to your local community with your expression of what that means to you.
And that's been amazingly freeing, because I know things. I know when I was making for exhibitions, I was trying to, in a way, people please and make something that someone would like. When I was making for commission, do you like it? But with this, I know in my heart this is right, and it has to be this, because it's from here, you know, and it means a lot. And so I've got a great surety about what's right and what's wrong. So it's up for 10 days, and I've approached the local museum to see if they'll get involved and try and find another place maybe to display the piece, and maybe deliver a talk on the piece and what I think about it. So it's got its own momentum now, its own force. This piece is all about memory, the fact that this shop has been around for 65 years, you know, and because there's so much change in life. Everything's changing all the time, you know. Nothing stays the same, even though however hard you try, it still changes, you know. And this guy was around for 65 years doing the same thing. So he's seeped into the psyche, you know, of his community in lots of different ways, you know. Some people just noticed him, but some people, the shop is incredibly important to them, you know, and means a lot. That's why I'm using transparent enamel. That's why I'm using one colour, because it's faded and it's not solid. It's in the past, it's a memory, it's not real anymore, you know. You can reach through it. So it's still there, you can still see it, but it's also not there as well. And I've got key memories of times in that shop, and it's about invoking that, and I almost want to show the power of that and bring back some of that memory to people. It starts from the 5th of May to the 14th of May 2023, so that's when it's actually up and live, but it will be on my website as well.